final battle between Fnatic and Slayers here at the GSTL.
And we have close air position, ladies and gentlemen, on our last map. Fnatic is up against Slayers. The score is 4-4 into the left side of the map. The Terran in the red, starting for the Fnatic team.
Fnatic Radical alive!
After beating Koka and Mia 2 Zergs, he is up against a fellow Terran player.
Yes, he is. That same Terran player starting up here at the top right. The final player for the Slayers team. He's been called by many a TBT sniper. His idea is...
Slayers! Liang!
He certainly has to live up to his reputation here if he wants to make sure that his team is advancing in the GSTL. If they want to go to Busan, well, Ryang has to take it.
I'm so excited actually about this map. We are going to have two Terran armies clash on top of these buildings in Metropolis, alright, to decide who gets out of this clan war.
And guys, once again, the information, if you haven't watched GSTL in the past few days or weeks, you just tuned in, maybe you were busy. The finals are coming up and they are in Busan, and it's the same weekend that we have the Code S finals. So if you actually toyed around with the idea of coming to Korea, of watching the GSL live, of attending a Code S final, this is the best chance that you will ever get to get not only the Code S finals, but the next day also the GSTL finals.
You're killing them, man. Like, they're like sitting at home getting so stressed out about this decision, and you're like, by the way, you know, just if you were thinking about it, like, let me just give you every reason to come.
Hey, we have so many foreigners that come not only to the studio, but that go to the finals, that say, okay, well, always wanted to go to Korea, always wanted to go to Asia, maybe you also visit Japan or whatever. And if you ever thought about it, this is actually the time to do it, because you will experience Code S and GSTL in Busan at the beach. It's great.
It is actually, I mean, there's no reason not to go. But, Commands are going down here now for Alive, whereas Ryung has gone gas, so he will likely Banshee expand, as he's not placed a tech lab on his barracks. There's the factory going down. Very likely going to be a Banshee expand. No second gas yet either. Nope, there it is. So it could be Cloak, and at these positions that can be quite strong.
Yeah, definitely. With the close air position that we now have, Cloak is something that you can definitely make work. And we've seen this very, very often. But I can't believe that this is going into the last map. This is so awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it is quite intense. You know, we don't see this anymore, but I would be curious to see if Ryung might consider doing one of these quick drop plays. I don't think we're going to see that though, because he took a second gas with something that's getting a little bit more popular in Korea as well, doing that old school heli and marine drop very quickly, because a lot of people are really cutting corners right now with double gassing after expanding.
You're right, this is actually a very, very good build, and it's something that we haven't seen in a while right now. And here comes the starport right away for Ryung. Still no expansion for him, and there won't be a command center anytime soon, apparently.
No, not until he gets that research going for his Banshees, gets those Banshees flying. See a continuing scout effort by Alive, wants to see if that command center has been planted yet. And the starport, it does finish. He's going to do that swap. Knows he has enough gas here. Very soon, he's going to have almost 300, so he can start Cloak. A few seconds later, will begin his first Banshee. 1 and 2. Boom. Perfectly timed.
And he's only scouting with the SCV, he's only scouting the expansions. He's actually not trying to go in somewhere. What is this SCV doing? It's trying to hide now. Scouting the top right as well. Looking if there's a hidden expansion, apparently.
He's just being really active with that SCV. Wants to see if there's anything that he can find. No reason not to. He's actually going to try to do this, and boom. I don't think he really got any info with that.
I think he spotted the...
it's just a tech lab he sees. Nothing really useful, but I guess he...
Oh, he didn't see the factory?
No,
he didn't.
He's like, well, I guess I'm going to go for, see if I can get some luck. And in reality, it's actually going to be a... oh, there's the scan.
Yeah.
So he knows that it's actually a reactor on that factory.
And he already has the engineering bay on the way. That's a little bit scary for Ryang. Ryang has to do damage. That's basically his obligation right now. He treats his tech for burst economy. So if he wants to just... He needs to do some damage here.
He really does, but the problem for him is that the Viking is almost out and the turrets are going to be gone. As soon as this E-base is finished, he's going to start one in his natural, one in his main. Got to be careful of these Marines as well. Here's the first turret going down. Nice control. Cloak is almost done.
Cloak is almost done, but so is the turret. The turret will be on its way. The Viking is also on the move.
One scan saved as well. And he needs a cloak. He will scan, and there's nowhere to run. Oh, nice control, actually, by Ryang. Almost escaping there. Oh, he does!
Wow.
Wow, got between the Marines and the Viking. I was actually...
So much for nowhere to run. He actually found a hole, and he used it.
I guess so, man. That was actually pretty nice.
It was really well done, and Alive just wasted a scan and didn't accomplish anything at all. This Banshee is still strong kicking.
The problem, though, does persist that his command center is late. He's just now making his orbital, and the Marine count is quite high for Alive. Whereas our Slayers player, Ryang, is just kind of trying to make things work with this Banshee. Still has to be very careful.
Alive is, by the way, behind in Harvesters at this point.
Yes.
He's at 30 to 31. The orbital is done for Ryang, so Ryang is actually, in economy-wise, in a pretty good position here.
Yeah, you're right. This
and Alive is once again supply block. He was supply blocked a few seconds ago already, and he's a supply block again.
This is a funny situation. The tank count is starting to get better for Ryang as he's got his first tank already starting siege mode. We'll start his second one very soon, but Alive is doing the same. And this game is actually very close right now, but I would say that Ryang has a slight lead. And this very active Viking wants to take out that Banshee. We'll get an SCV instead. Guess that works out. Takes control of the Watchtower. The irony of a Viking holding a Watchtower in ground mode.
I cannot remember I've seen that, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen that either. It's actually pretty weird.
Well, as we said, you can see at the production tabs right now that we already have the siege mode done for Alive, and now Ryang follows suit. But the account in the number in Harvesters is still way ahead for the Slayers player. He's at 40 against 34 right now, and Alive is only building one SCV at a time. Ryang really making sure that he has enough workers to saturate both of his expansions completely. He's in a pretty good position here.
And he's actually going to continue to hold this Watchtower with the Viking in assault mode.
We have no gas on the low ground for Alive. He has 2 gas only. He's thinking about moving out here. Doesn't do it just yet.
Yeah,
but
he's really thinking about it. The problem for him, though, is his opponent, like you said, has siege mode already. He's got tanks ready to defend. Stim is not done for Ryang just yet. However, the Stim for Alive is ready, and I think he was trying to potentially hit a timing with that. He may decide to elevate her into the main while putting some pressure on at the front, but they're so close in supply that I just don't think this is going to be worth it. It may end up being more trouble than it's worth to actually try to attack like this. Notice that Ryang actually, surprisingly so, is ahead in upgrades. That's pretty tough to do when you're playing against Alive. And look at this assault mode Viking. He's serious.
Yeah, that Viking really likes this Watchtower.
He even brought a friend.
My Watchtower.
He's like, all right, listen, I'll take the ground, you take the air. SCV will just support us both.
The gas has been taken on the low ground at the natural for Alive, by the way. And Ryang is now adding his production as well. With all the income.
Sorry, there's a Banshee that sneaked in.
With all the income that he currently has, another scan wasted here, by the way. He scans that the Banshee gets away. So well done by Ryang.
Not only that, but used the Stim as well. So that's a lot lost there. And the Banshee's actually just going to come back.
Yeah, the Banshee is moving back in and trying to take down these Marines. Now he can two-shot them once again. Combat Shield doesn't matter in this situation. Actually, he doesn't have Combat Shield.
Yeah, he doesn't quite even have it yet. He's about to. He stims again and does not get the Banshee.
Oh,
okay, he does.
He does.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. He's elevatoring in here. He's got his tanks in a great
one
position.
In the main base, by the way, with 8 kills in a nice position. But here comes Alive, trying to actually just drop. But there's a tank and there are Marines. Alive getting a little bit overeager here. He's relying on the tanks on the low ground. But, well, Ryang is not falling for the trap.
He needs to, well, he doesn't have vision. Okay, there he's going to go in here. He needs to repair this barracks because if he loses that research, he loses that combat shield research, it's going to be very unfortunate for him. Oh! That was a bit overzealous, maybe. It looks like the combat shield research will finish because he did not target that barracks. And this is actually really scary for Alive because he has a small isolated force in the middle of the map that if he gets surrounded and attacked, he will not be able to escape with.
And there's a third base already for Ryung as well. Well, he has the command center, but the thing is, there might be an even supply, but the amount of minerals and gas that Ryung has floating is looking pretty good. The tank count is also in his favor, 5-4. He doesn't have the Vikings, but still Ryung is playing this very well. He's using the sensor tower now to get a kind of an early idea when his opponent is moving out. But this is looking pretty good for Ryung right now. He doesn't have like a huge advantage, but it looks very solid.
He has 1-1 upgrades first. His opponent just now starting the +1 armor, so he's going to be at 1-1 versus just +1 for quite some time. +2 already started for him. And I think he actually still... No, yeah, he got the second eBay. Not using it just yet, but he will soon. He's going to take a huge upgrade lead, which is so important when you go Marine Tank. When both players are going Marine Tank, when you think about the amount of units there, 56 Marines out right now versus 36 Marines. That means that upgrade is applied 56 times in a battle. That is just something crazy to think about.
The third base is in position also for Ryung. He has it in position, he has secured it, and he is way ahead of his opponent in this regard.
Yep. This is becoming quite a passive game as both players are nervous to attack each other because one wrong move in TVT can spell disaster.
Yeah, it's certainly true. The upgrades that you mentioned also displayed now in the production tab once again. Alive wants to take his third. He's a bit slower than his opponent. Drop escapes here has not been taken down. Very active, those Vikings on the map.
And he will see this third command center, despite not being able to really put any pressure on it. Both players just using small groups of Marines and dropships to scout. We see a neutral, no, not a neutral depot, but a kind of a spotter depot on the right side of the map for Ryung to spot drops from Alive. And the upgrades do continue. That right now Ryung getting closer and closer to 2-2. Alive has caught up in some ways with his +2 weapons being fairly close here.
And also something in the advantage in favor of Ryung is that he's already getting a fourth command center right now. He can pull that off. Very passive now. He's ahead in Harvesters. He has this base a lot faster than his opponent, especially the gas that he's taking.
Both players actually, I want to give some unit numbers here. It's 9 siege tanks and 62 Marines for Ryung versus 7 siege tanks and 83 Marines for his opponent. So the Marine count is different. Both players can take a fight. It all comes down to micro, and this is actually a good position for Alive, but he has to pull back. Now he's going to lose a reactor and a turret.
And that will open up the high ground for potential drops. But he's moving forward with those. Should be a little bit more careful with the Viking. There we go. The turret is gone and he immediately tries to drop, but there's a siege tank in position for Alive, who's at 100 and 200 supply actually. But Ryung with a lot of units looking at the army supply. Alive is ahead with 20. He has the lower harvest account, both of them completely maxed out. But the upgrades are still in favor of Ryung.
Yeah, they are, and Ryung is actually going for some medevacs here, but he loses a few Marines. That's something he cannot really afford to do right now. The Marine count not in his favor, and that can change a battle so drastically with how concaves work and how many units can fire.
And don't forget, we have the fourth base, and it's going to be a planetary. Alive just started his fourth. He is way behind in this regard.
Yeah, this is a very aggressive position for Ryung. He's going to lift. He's being targeted down, though, and he does not get in, but he's done a lot of damage and is Alive going to commit. He does. This may be a mistake. He's down in supply. He's losing so much.
He lost nearly, I don't want to say everything, but he lost about 40 supply here. Moved into the siege tank range, and Ryung taking a huge advantage over his opponent. He's still on 2,200 minerals. He has a lot of minerals and gas floating here. Very well done.
Yep, this turret takes out a drop that was on the right side as well. Very ironic turret placement, kind of random, but ends up killing a drop, which means he holds that base, that planetary that he had, without any threat. And right now, the upgrades, look at him, you can see him on the production tab, he's way ahead, way ahead. He's already got +3 armor on the way, and until that +2 armor finishes for Alive, he is going to be down in upgrades, so he can't pick a fight very easily right now, and he's down in supply as well.
And with the advantage that he has, he is doing the best thing that he can do. He's building additional command centers. He will start to get more mules, more orbitals into this game, and then of course always has the option of sacrificing a few of his SCVs to clear up supply to make more army. And here we go with another attack, and wow, Ryung with a small mistake with his Marines. But he realizes it stims, runs away, but losing a lot of hit points and a few Marines as well.
Yeah, quite a pathing mistake. There are a huge force coming around for Alive. Now, I like this. This force can kill command centers, and that's what he's going to go for, but he has to be careful. He sneaks just around the siege tank line, and Ryung, his production facilities are a little bit in trouble right now.
Not only a little bit, his SCVs, they try to do something here. We have one turret firing at the medivacs right away, but those Marines that come in for Ryung might not be enough. For Life doing a lot of damage here, but he is not able to really capitalize on this. He's not doing enough damage, and at the same time we have another drop at the bottom left. A double drop for Ryung is going on, and he is taking apart. No, not a lot, only a few SCVs as Alive is ready.
Yep, he is ready indeed. Both players fairly even on supply. He does get that drop cleaned up, but in the meantime, the attack for Alive is still commencing at the third base here. He's lost a lot of reactors. He's lost some SCVs.
33 SCVs killed by Alive over the course of the game. 17 for Ryung. 170 supply for both of them. Ryung once again ahead in his mineral count and also in gas. Does he have the production though? It looks like he has. He also has the upgrades, by the way. +3/+3 is done for him, but he is actually dropping a bit in supply here.
Yeah, he is actually starting to play a little bit sloppier. He's got to be a lot more careful with his unit control. This is something we talked about before. Alive's positioning is quite good, and right now, still, Ryung does have the +1 for his tanks. That's something that's just now finishing for Alive, which means that they're going to be even on upgrades fairly soon here. Alive, like you can see, is going to be behind in armor yet again with his Marines, but +3 is finishing for his weapons.
Up to this point, it was actually all going Ryung's way, and it was a very, very straightforward game for him. He played his style, but then Alive with his run, but he forced mistakes out of his opponent. And
it's not over, man. He's still killing SCVs over there.
He's still killing SCVs with this drop, and this is the one thing that kind of makes him miss a beat every now and then. So it's just Alive forcing mistakes out of Ryung, and he does that very, very well. So I have to say the Fnatic player is edging his way not only back into this game, but having a supply lead, and also made sure that this mineral bank that Ryung had accumulated, it's gone. He doesn't have an advantage anymore.
Yeah, you're right. This is quite the comeback that we're seeing from Alive right now.
It's very subtle.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best way to put it. It's very subtle, and I feel like the slight contain that's been set up here is not going to be enough, because there are ways to circumvent this, and Alive will find them, and he already is. He's sitting another group of units around the left side. He does get caught. Well, this is actually such a tense game.
Alive found a hole in his opponent's defense and he put it to good use, and there is still a medivac at the top right that can drop units. This is the one thing that Alive has here. Of course, Ryung is trying to achieve the same thing at the bottom left, and he's still down in bases. Keep in mind that we have Ryung currently on 4 bases, while Alive has only 3 of them. He's trying to move out.
This is great for Ryung. He's actually going to get into this production facility area. He's going to maybe kill a commander. He definitely will get at least one.
But only if he doesn't lift it. Alive, he doesn't realize anything. We have a little bit of a fight in the middle of the map. That's why he did not really see what was happening at the bottom left, but now he lifted the second command center as well, repairs it, and Alive sneaks a few units by, but Eek's going... Nah, he's not going into the range of the sensor turret.
Oh no, the siege tanks are exposed here. He's going to get several of them for free.
Well done, he takes the Marines down as well, and now he's in a great position. He can catch the reinforcements here.
Oh, Ryung, very good control here, trying to bait these Marines into siege tank fire, and he does, picking a better fight in the end, and he's still denying mining, but he will lose some more siege tanks.
This is a great position for this force for Alive. He's actually in a great spot here, but he's only on 2 binding bases. His third is completely sieged up with all these tanks. So for Alive has to do some damage. If he waits too long here on only 2 bases, that's something that he cannot afford to do.
The siege tanks are about to have +2. We're going to help hold off this first wave of units, but the second wave is quite intense. I'm not sure if Ryung has enough. Alive is breaking through. He will take out these siege tanks with another stim. He even waits. He's patient here. He knows he has to do damage now as he is contained.
At the same time, though, Ryung is getting tank after tank after tank, and those siege tanks are a big problem for Alive. Ryung is trying to defend here, and if he does, Alive is in a tough spot. We have both of them at 130 supply. Alive moving up the ramp and trying to lay siege as his opponent's production buildings. And if he takes down those 2 factories, there are no more siege tanks for Ryung.
You're absolutely right, and it looks like he's going to be able to do this, taking out the barracks. Both players have arms around their opponent's necks, trying to choke them out here as they're both on similar supplies, sieging up their production facilities. Right now, Alive has sieged up his opponent's production, whereas his opponent has sieged up his economy. It's economy versus production here, and it looks like he is going to actually take control of the main base.
Oh, but the amount of Marines is slowly but steadily dying. There are so many medivacs though, and they are the one thing that keep the Marines alive here. And I don't know. The factories, they are still going.
Oh, he's trying to break it. And he will not break out. There's too many Marines, there's too many tanks here, and this is it. GG! What a crazy game we just saw.
Alive losing the Marines in his opponent's main base. He's not able to take down the bases. The income for his opponent still going strong. Ryang can rebuild his production facilities at the fourth. At the bottom left, while Alive was running out of minerals, the third base was something that he could never actually get again.
What a sick game we just saw. Ryang coming out ahead in the end. His team will advance. Ryang, he was just sitting on the bench the whole time waiting for this very moment, and he seized it. That is for sure. Great comeback by Alive in that game, though. Looking really strong. Knew exactly where to find the openings in his opponent's siege line and just ran into small groups of units, but it was not enough in the end.
And right now, of course, Fnatic really disappointed here. A lot of players sitting on the booth and thinking, what if Moon would have been successful with a 6-pool? What if, I don't know, Rain was successful with this one base play against JYP? But in the end, it is the Slayers team. They advance in the GSTL.
There's a lucky cat. By the way, today is Friday the 13th in Korea right now. It's actually something I forgot about until this very moment.
I actually think it's Friday the 13th everywhere in the world.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, right now, yeah, I guess. Yeah. But lucky cat, I guess, helps things out there. Ryang was the lucky cat, I guess, for their team today. And that's it. Slayers will advance. A crazy day. We had a great lead from the beginning from JYP. Fnatic struggling to deal with him, but then Alive and Oz coming back in, trying to save things. But in the end, Ryang just closed things out.
And, well, that was so close. I mean, the last game, that was really, really well played, what we've seen. They are a great TBT. And Fnatic, they are out of the tournament. The Slayers team, they advance. And, well, by the way, we have GSTL tomorrow again, of course, something that we should mention right now before we have the interview and everything. But keep in mind, it's once again on a Saturday, so it's early.
It will be early. It's going to be at 2 p.m., so 4 hours earlier than usual. Not 1 p.m. like Code A, and even I forget that almost every time I come here an hour early by mistake, but tomorrow I'm going to try not to forget.
Yeah, sometimes it's really funny. Wolf will always send me a text message, okay, I'm on my way, I'm nearly there, do you want to grab a coffee? And I'm like, you are 2 hours early, dude. What the hell?
No, that's always embarrassing for me, but, well, whatever, you know, it never pays to be too prepared, to be too early. Or, it never pays, that's not what I meant to say at all, it actually does pay.
Great series by the Slayers team, and I'm actually really excited to see them in the next match. I don't know, after JYP took those 3 wins, I was really scared that we would see like a very, very short match, but that was great. And Alive, I'm a little bit sad for them, because Oz and Alive just were able to put them back into the race, and then Ryang was just too much for Alive to deal with. But now we have the interview, of course, with our MVP today.
And Ryang is the MVP, of course, for Slayers.
I would actually have expected JYP here.
네, 처음 출전했는데 자리가 워낙 부담되는 자리에 나가서 글쎄요, 첫 출전이라는 생각은 안 했고요. 아무래도
It's his first time playing the scene, and he was playing as the last player. He felt a lot of pressure, was a bit nervous, and really happy that he won the match. There was this moment when you could really see that he was a little nervous. He was on the edge of not really falling apart, but making a few mistakes that Alive forced. Alive just put pressure on him, and you could really see that for a moment here he struggled, but he got really back. Okay, so the reason why he's playing today for the first time is that basically the coach's decision was to not use him up to today, so he had to sit on the bench the entire time, just watch, but today he had his moment, and he used it. Okay, so he just answered our question as well. Apparently MMA is not feeling well lately, so that's the reason why we didn't see him today, and he hopes that he will be able to appear in the future rounds.
Here is Jessica, looking quite beautiful today. And the watch, like you said, is quite intense.
이번에 3회 우승을 노린다고 했는데 해운대에서 마지막
After winning 2 GSTLs last year, we haven't really been doing that well recently in GSTL. It feels very good to be in the semifinals again.
이호준 선수가 없어서 저는 내심적으로 걱정을 하긴 했는데 그래도 이렇게 4강 진출에 성공했습니다.
We predict very good results for our team this season.
네, 그렇죠.
This is, by the way, not a watch.
종족에 이렇게 치중되시는
I thought it was one, but it's not. It's just a bracelet.
저희 전종봉 선수가 이상하게
Or a weapon. Maybe. Could be both.
굉장히 좋은 실력을 가지고 있는 선수라 앞으로도 저는 계속 기대를 할 것이고요.
Mia is doing really good in the practice house, but oddly enough, when he plays in broadcasted matches for GSTL, it doesn't perform as well. But I expect a lot more from Mia in the future. I think that Slayers is a very balanced team, and that's why we're so good in the GSTL.
For me, it's probably, we talked about this quite often, the pressure that you feel in the booth when you're playing on camera. It's a lot of pressure that also a very seasoned and experienced player have to deal with. And for a youngster like Mia who has not had the experience, like for example this opponent like Alive, that is something that you will struggle
오늘
with.
사실 저희가 함께한 커뮤니티에 보시면 이렇게
Sorry to JYP for not getting the MVP award.
응원하면 진다 뭐 이런 게 있었는데 사실은
But he already has 5 kills in the GSTL, so might be able to get the most wins in the GSTL, like move up in that player sheet that we saw earlier. So she's just saying like, cheer up because it's gonna be okay, even though you're not MVP today.
I want to know what's up with the cat.
Well,
일단은
that's too complicated to
TSL은
explain
굉장히
right
큰
now.
장점이 저그가 강하다는 게 큰 장점인데요. 반면에 다르게 생각한다면
We're gonna play against TSL in the next round, and we think
그게 단점일 수
that they of course have a very strong
그래서
Zerg
그런
lineup,
점들을 잘 활용해 볼까 합니다.
네, 알겠습니다.
and that might give them actually it might give them a disadvantage because since they only have strong Zerg players, it makes them a little bit one-sided, a little bit lopsided of a team.
Yeah, that's what we talked about like quite often, that they are a bit too predictable maybe, but on the other hand, those Zerg players really...
They just shine.
Yeah.
I mean, Shine himself does it quite well, but that wasn't intentional, but I just made it that way. But no, seriously, you might be some people might call TSL these days Team Zerg because I mean he's so
Team
good.
Swarm Life.
Yeah. that's really.
I didn't come up with it. I read it somewhere, but
okay.
I thought that was actually really.
I was like, wow, what a.
That was really well done. I mean, that's Team SCV Life. What? How many Terrans? 2?
You know, Clyde came up with that name.
yeah, told me at some point.
That's really funny, actually.
No, but the thing is, it's really, I mean, for TSL, of course they are a little bit more predictable than other teams, but those Zerg players, even when you know who you're facing, beating them, that's a different story.
Yeah.
And, well, I don't know. Especially Symbol will probably be eager to really prove himself here.
Yeah, especially after his Codas performance there.
It was so sad to see it because I think that his nerves were a big problem for him. You could see him how tense he was after every single loss. But well, guys, let's talk about TSL against Slayers. That's something that we will see very soon. Let's talk about our results today.
Yep, JYP leading the charge with 3 kills, then Oz taking out JYP and Yu-Gi-Oh! Koka stepped in to get 1 more point, but he was quickly shut down by Alive, who took 2 more wins, but Ryung, the MVP of today, took the final win and secured the win for his team. Now here are kind of the rest of things that are going to... I mean, you guys already can tell, like, that's going to be tomorrow's match, Ines Hosa versus FXO, and that will end our group play. It will put us into the semifinals. Things are really starting to get heated up, and here we go. Next week, on July 20th, we will have MVP versus whoever wins tomorrow's match, and the other side, as Jessica already said, TSL against Slayers, and the finals are going to be at 7 p.m. at Haeundae Beach in Busan. Don't miss it.
This is actually going to be so crazy. I mean, if you look at those teams, of course, if you thought at the beginning of the season who would be up there, Prime and StarTale, those are 2 teams that you would have thought about. But just looking at this, MVP is an amazing team. You have Slayers, you have TSL. This is going to be not only great semifinals, but I'm so looking forward to the final.
Yeah, as am I. I'm thinking that, like, just the fact that you have 2 finals close to each other like this makes it really exciting as well.
Yeah.
The crowd should be intense. It's going to be on the beach. It's going to be outside. It's going to be awesome.
That's going to be really, really good. But guys, we are back tomorrow. Don't forget, we mentioned it earlier already. Tomorrow we will be starting at 2 p.m. Korean Standard Time.
4 hours early, so make sure that you tune in early. Don't tweet at us at 6 and say, oh, what happened? Because we told you now. And if you know somebody who isn't watching the GSL right now, make sure you text them or tweet at them or call them or message them on Skype or on Instant Messenger,
Definitely
ICQ.
Tell your friends and tell them that it's early tomorrow. That's something that is always kind of mixed up by a lot of people. So tomorrow it is actually at Let me think about it. It's 7 o'clock for the Europeans.
Tomorrow, I guess it'll be 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for those New York people, and then I guess on the West Coast it'll be noon. That's gonna be, midnight. I said everything wrong. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about anymore, guys. I'm totally wrong. It's like, don't listen to anything I just said. Just look up your own time zone.
Don't let Wolf do math on camera. But guys, doesn't matter what time it is. We'll see you tomorrow for the GSTL for tomorrow's match in his host against FXO. Bye bye.